Now let us see the phylums of the non-chordates. Non-chordates are those organisms which do not have notochord present inside them. We have to see the various phylums which are present, and we are dealing with the cellular level of organization. Now when I say cellular level, we are dealing with those organisms which do not have division of labor present. Minimal differentiation would be there. The first point that you have to remember is that the organism's body will have minimal differentiation. They would be multicellular, the body would be having minimal differentiation, and there would be least division of labor. Now when I talk about division of labor, that means I need to have a tissue level, but because these organisms are at the cellular level, they do not have that differentiation. As you can see over here, this is a simplest presentation of sponges. What you see is tube like structure that is present. Now if you have had an interest in watching cartoons, there is a cartoon character known as SpongeBob as well. You must have heard about him. That is an underwater cartoon presentation, and you have many living organisms inside it. We are going to deal with those organisms only, and the first one that we deal with is sponges. Now these sponges are having the cellular level, as I told you, the minimum differentiation has taken place, there is a tissue level. Now how do they perform the body functions? If they have to do, they have to perform the body functions. If at all, the foremost body function that is to be performed is of nutrition. So nutrition and osmoregulation, because they are present inside the water. This is underwater condition that you see, and the first example that we see over here is cyclone. Okay, the simplest one, the freshwater sponge as we call it. Now in this picture you can see how cyclone exactly looks like, and these are the corals which are surrounding it. We have to take the example of Euplectilla, another one example, and this is Spongilla, freshwater sponge that we find exclusively, not marine, not all of them are marine, but most of them are marine. Let's take the example of Euplectilla. Now what you see over here is that there are many small pores which are present. Okay, there is a canal like body system. So we have water canal system. Okay, that is characteristic feature of this particular phylum, that as I told you, they have to perform the function of nutrition. Okay, the digestion has to take place, they have to eat something because they are animals, they cannot make their own food. They are inside the water, marine water or fresh water. They have to maintain the osmoregulatory mechanisms as well. So two things we have to keep in mind, one is digestion, another is osmoregulation. For digestion also, they have to take water or whatever food particle is to be ingested. They have to take water for their osmoregulation purpose only also. So what we have is that we have an opening present over here. This is opening and this is the mouth as we call it. From this opening, what will happen? The food would enter. Okay, it's not that case. If it would be this mouth that is present, through which the food has to enter, why would we have these pores? Now let's see, this body is having so many pores and it is having a mouth as well. What would be the water canal system, that how it would be working? Through these pores, numerous pores, tiny pores, water enters inside a canal that is present. Now how does a sponge body look like? Supposedly it is a sponge body. It is having many pores over here. Okay, and inside there is a cavity which is present, body cavity which is present. This pore is a passage sort of thing, many passages which are present, and water would enter through this passage. It would enter the canal. Okay, through these pores it would enter the canal. This is a canal as we can talk about, this open cavity sort of place. Water would enter here, and through this mouth that we were considering that food would enter through it. No, it would enter, the water would enter, not specifically food, the water current would enter inside the cavity, and whatever digestion or absorption has to take place, it would be taken care of by the cells which line this cavity, and they would take up the food material, and whatever water, wastewater or of no use, the water which is left, it would be thrown out of the mouth. The second thing that you have to remember is that they have hard skeleton, and over here the skeleton is exoskeleton. Okay, the outer skeleton, the body is covered by small spicules. Okay, small spicules, as you can see over here. In this example, you can see small spicules. In this example, there are small spicules lining the pores. This also you can see the small spicules. These spicules are made up of silica, and silica, I would tell you, they are siliceous basically, and you can make it out that if something is made up of silica, it would have something gritty to be touched. It would be gritty to touch, as in the case of sand. So this is all that you have to remember about phylum Porifera, that it is the first phylum. It is having a cellular level organization. There are the three examples that we have discussed. I've used the pictures so that they remain in your mind for a longer time. We have the example of cycon, we have the example of spongilla, we have the example of euplectilla. The body is made up of siliceous spicules which give it the skeleton appearance, which give it the role of skeleton is carried out by those siliceous arrangements, and it is having small pores which are responsible for taking up the water and the water current basically, which has food inside it. The inside of the body has a huge cavity which is lined by the cells which are responsible for digestion and osmoregulation. There is a mouth which is responsible for throwing out the water which has entered through the pores into the water canal cavity. Now these are the points you have to keep in mind. You have to remember them and understand them if you can a little bit.